Good morning. My name is Elizabeth Kelly. I'm going to speak with you today about enterococci and cyanobacteria in some local watersheds. I am a PhD student at the Abbott Center for Ecosystem Science and Policy. In the past, about over the course of the summer and before it's happened as well, there's been a state of emergency declared in 7 Florida counties. This has been due to the recent algae blooms, algae, of course, cyanobacteria. At the same time, in these same counties and beyond, other areas in the state, there have been bacterial exceedances, particularly Enterococci, a fecal indicator bacteria, reported at recreational beaches in these same counties and the others throughout the state. Why specifically is it that we are interested in cyanobacteria and enterococci? For cyanobacteria, this is something that can cause a public health risk. It can cause bacterial, it can cause irritations, respiratory irritation, headaches, sometimes some dizziness. With enterococci, it serves as an indicator for pathogens. These pathogens can cause GI distress and diarrhea and things like that. Where do these come from? Basically, for cyanobacteria and enterococci, they both come from being fed by nutrients. Generally, these nutrients are nitrogen and phosphorus. All right, let's go. Come on. Okay. How do we measure chlorophyll and enterococci? With cyanobacteria, you can measure this through the chlorophyll itself. It's a filtering method where you put it on the filter as you see here. You end up putting it into a spectrophotometer or fluorometer, and you see the fluorescence that comes back to see how much of the chlorophyll is present. For enterococci, you measure the bacteria by filtering it through water and filtering it through this filter there. And from there, you incubate it for 24 hours. After the 24 hours, you count the number of colony-forming units that are present in the filter. For this study, what we did was we chose 3 sites. The 2 sites, Roosevelt Bridge and Du Bois Park, are from the Florida Healthy Beaches program. These are monitored for enterococci specifically. We noticed them through a survey of all the beaches basically in the state that were measured, and these 2 happened to really stand out with their enterococci exceedances. With Roosevelt Bridge, it's also on the St. Lucie River, and that's an area that tends to have a lot of problems with cyanobacteria. We also chose, as a lot of times when people talk about why is it that these blooms are happening, they mention the releases of water from Lake Okeechobee. So we threw a Lake Okeechobee site in here as well to manage it. And so there's our Canal Point site, which just provided us with some background to see what was going on in the lake. At the same time, we're looking at the enterococci and cyanobacteria at Roosevelt Bridge and Du Bois Park. You notice also there is a spot where this shows the flow from the lake. C44 is a man-made canal. This is not part of the river at all. It's been dug out. And then right around S80, which is about 7 miles from Roosevelt Bridge, then it actually joins the St. Lucie River. So this is sometimes known as the C44 S80, but this is not the entire St. Lucie River. It only becomes right up at the top near where Roosevelt Bridge is. So in looking at all of these beaches, recreational areas, managed areas, we compared enterococci and chlorophyll to see if there was anything why these 2 are happening at the same time. Why do we have these exceedances at the same time in somewhat the same areas? At Du Bois Park, which is not an area known for algae exceedances, it's on the Loxahatchee River, and they don't have these same issues. Perhaps because there are no lake releases, but they both have phosphorus in common. Roosevelt Bridge didn't seem to show anything really enterococci, and we didn't really have a lot in common with the lake data. So this is what we have learned so far, and future work I hope to focus more on these that we have learned here.
Wonderful.